If you've been learning Spanish for a long time, you may have found that even though you know a lot of vocabulary, you have a hard time having natural conversation. And this is because real Spanish isn't just about vocabulary. Rather, it's the small phrases that Spanish speakers use all the time that aren't always taught well in different mediums like textbooks or learning apps to Spanish learners. And these little phrases are so important if you want to speak Spanish naturally and become fluent. So today I'm going to teach you 5 Spanish phrases that a lot of learning platforms skip, but Spanish speakers use all the time. The first one is no hace falta. And this one can be translated to mean it's not necessary, you don't need to, or there's no need. If we break it down, no hace falta is just 3 simple words. No, which means no, of course. Hace, which means does or makes. And falta, which means need or lack. But the meaning isn't obvious if you just look at the words individually that way. And that's probably why this phrase doesn't come naturally to people learning Spanish. So a lot of people might naturally think when they want to say it's not necessary, you could say no es necesario. And it's no es necesario is technically correct. There's nothing wrong with that. It does mean it's not necessary. But in everyday conversations, Spanish speakers are probably more likely to use something like no hace falta. It just kind of rolls off the tongue easier. It sounds more natural, but it doesn't have an obvious meaning if you just look at the phrase. So you could use this phrase all the time when somebody offers help or when you just want to say something is not necessary. No hace falta. It's one of those phrases that is just so simple to say and makes your Spanish sound more conversational right away. A key thing to remember, of course, is that with the verb hacer, it's pronounced hacer, and in this case, we're saying hace falta. The H is silent. Don't say hace or anything like that. You have to remember it's unnatural for English speakers, but the H is completely silent. It's just hace falta. So let's do an example. No hace falta más tiempo. More time is not needed. No hace falta más tiempo. A key thing to note here is that if you just remove no from the beginning and you say hace falta, you're just saying it is needed. So it's a very easy way to switch between saying something is necessary and something is unnecessary. Hace falta, no hace falta. So another example, ¿Quieres que te ayude? Do you want me to help you? No, no hace falta, gracias. No, it's not necessary, thank you. And another example, maybe somebody apologizes for being late, perdón que llegar tarde, and you could say, no hace falta que te disculpes. You don't need to apologize. Another example, ¿Quieres más comida? Do you want more food? No gracias, no hace falta. No thanks, it's not needed. No hace falta is a pretty universal phrase in the Spanish-speaking world. You'll hear it in casual conversations, workplaces, restaurants, or among friends and family. In Spain, it is extremely common, and it is probably the default way to say you don't need to, or it's not necessary. And then in Latin America, it's also pretty common, but they might be more inclined to say no es necesario or no necesito. But this one is very common everywhere. The next phrase we're going to cover is me da igual, which means it's all the same to me, doesn't matter, whatever, I don't mind. This is another tricky one that you might not have learned or might not understand right away because if you translate it literally to English, it doesn't make any sense. The literal translation is it gives me equal, which of course doesn't make any sense in English. A similar phrase to me da igual is no me importa, which is pretty common as well, but no me importa is a little bit more of a I don't care, and me da igual is more of a I don't have a preference. So this one's important to know because native speakers use it all the time when making decisions. Where should we eat? What movie do you want to watch? When do you want to go out? These are all cases where you can use me da igual if you want to say that you don't have a preference. So what you're literally saying is it gives me the same. So between 2 options, if you don't have a preference, they're the same to you, me da igual. So maybe at a restaurant and someone asks you, ¿Quieres pizza o una hamburguesa? Do you want pizza or a hamburger? Me da igual, tú eliges. I don't mind, you choose. Another example, ¿Quieres sentarte aquí o ahí? Do you want to sit here or over there? Me da igual, I don't mind. And one more example, ¿Te importa si abro la ventana? Do you mind if I open the window? No, me da igual. No, I don't mind. So this is another one that is extremely common in Spain where you'll hear it a lot. In some other places like Latin America, it's also used, but might be less common. Again, there's other similar phrases you can use depending on the context. In Latin America, people might be more likely to say me da lo mismo or no me importa, which kind of depends on the context, like I mentioned earlier, exactly how you want to come across. But no me importa is also a common way to say the same thing. So even though there's a couple of different options to say essentially the same thing, context is always important, and it's just good to have a few different options and to be aware of what these different options mean so that you're not thrown off guard when you hear them. The next phrase I want to talk about is ya veremos, which means we'll see. Ya veremos. And a reason that this one might not be that common to learn is that usually things will be taught in full sentences. And ya veremos is a pretty shortened, it's not really a full sentence. It's kind of a quick phrase. Textbooks and apps might say things like veremos qué pasa. We'll see what happens. But native Spanish speakers love to shorten their sentences and just say things kind of quickly. So ya veremos instead of ya veremos qué pasa. It might mean the same thing, but ya veremos is quick, natural, and it's extremely common, so it's good to know. So ya veremos means we'll see. It can also be used to say I'm not sure, we'll see what happens, let's wait and see, maybe, we'll decide later. It's a very helpful phrase that covers a lot of these different responses that you might want to give. So if we break this one down into its two parts, ya and veremos, veremos obviously comes from the verb ver, to see. Veremos is the future tense, we will see, veremos. And the word ya is tricky, it has a bunch of meanings, but it can mean eventually. So what we're saying with ya veremos is we'll find out eventually, we'll see what happens. So let's do some examples. First one, ¿vas a viajar este año? Are you going to travel this year? Ya veremos, we'll see. Another one, ¿crees que va a funcionar? Do you think it's going to work? Ya veremos, we'll see. And one more example, ¿vas a venir mañana? Are you going to come tomorrow? Ya veremos, depende del trabajo. We'll see, depends on work. Ya veremos is another one that is used all across the Spanish-speaking world. You'll hear it when making plans, when talking about the future, or when you want to avoid giving a definite answer. And then because it has a few of these different meanings, the tone can vary a little bit, and the way that you use it might change the way that it comes off. So it could be used if you are just genuinely uncertain, if you want to give a polite hesitation, or it could even be a polite way of saying no. You could say, ya veremos, we'll see, but maybe you're just saying no. Probably not. This next one is extremely common, and I'm sure you've heard it, and it is no pasa nada. And it means no problem, don't worry, it's okay. And this is another one that, although is extremely common among native speakers, textbooks and apps might be more likely to say no hay problema, which means no problem, there isn't a problem. And no hay problema is correct. It's again just a little bit of a formal, not very natural way to say it, whereas no pasa nada just is so easy to say, it sounds natural, and it is probably way more likely to be used by Spanish speakers than no hay problema, especially in casual settings. No pasa nada just sounds warm and reassuring, and if someone says no pasa nada, you can really trust that it's okay. They don't mind. It's really useful when you want to say it's okay. If somebody's apologizing, maybe somebody broke something, somebody arrived late, you can just say, no pasa nada, it's okay. So if we break this one down literally, it means no, pasa, which means happens, and nada, which means nothing. So it's a double negative, which is very common in Spanish and can be a bit confusing. But when you're saying no pasa nada, you're saying nothing happened. So let's do some examples. Perdón, rompí el vaso. Sorry, I broke the glass. No pasa nada. It's okay. Another one, llegué tarde. I arrived late. No pasa nada. It's all right. So anytime someone says lo siento, to apologize, you can just say no pasa nada, don't worry, it's okay. No pasa nada is used literally everywhere, and it is one of the most useful reassurance phrases in Spanish. But again, remember that you might also hear no hay problema, todo bien, tranquilo. There's always different ways to say the same thing, but no pasa nada is extremely common and understood everywhere. The last one I want to cover is la verdad es que, and that means the truth is, or honestly. This one could be shortened to just be la verdad, and that would just be truth is, or maybe you would use it to stall and you say la verdad. But you'll almost always follow la verdad with sk because it means the truth is that. If you want to transition your sentence, you'll probably say la verdad es que. So two really common alternatives to this one would be creo que and pienso que, which means I think. And those are correct, and you'll definitely hear those as well. But natives will often introduce their opinions with la verdad or la verdad es que. This phrase sounds pretty natural, and I think it sounds more natural than pienso que or creo que because it kind of softens your opinion. So it's especially useful when you want to disagree politely, express your opinion, or maybe admit to something. So let's do some examples. La verdad es que estoy cansado. Honestly, I'm tired. La verdad es que no sé. Honestly, I don't know. A pronunciation note for this one is that oftentimes the second D might be a little bit softer and you might not even hear it and you might sound more like verdad, verdad, because the second D isn't going to be emphasized. It's not verdad. It'll probably come off more as verdad or verdad. Very soft second D. Another example, ¿Te gustó la película? Did you like the movie? La verdad, no mucho. Honestly, not really. You could just say, not really, no mucho, but la verdad, no mucho. It's a little bit softer, and it kind of just it gives you a second to express your feelings in a more soft, natural way. Another example, ¿Por qué estudias español? Why do you study Spanish? La verdad es que quiero viajar más. The truth is, I want to travel more. Or honestly, I want to travel more. And one more, ¿Quieres salir esta noche? Do you want to go out tonight? La verdad es que no quiero salir esta noche. The truth is, no, I don't want to go out tonight. Or la verdad es que estoy cansado. Honestly, I'm tired. This is an extremely common one. You'll hear it in all sorts of different conversational settings. It sounds natural in all the different Spanish-speaking countries, and it's just a great way to introduce an opinion. So, to summarize, the 5 Spanish phrases that we covered are no hace falta, there's no need, me da igual, I don't mind, ya veremos, we'll see, no pasa nada, no problem, and la verdad es que, honestly, or the truth is. So you'll notice that these phrases aren't advanced Spanish. They actually use very simple words. Just knowing their meanings and when to use them so that you can sound more natural in conversations is really important. They're just extremely helpful to take your Spanish from being correct to being natural. So try to keep these in mind, and please let me know if there's other similar phrases that you like to use or that you recommend using, because there's a lot more like these out there. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time.